Hey guys, welcome to another mixing tutorial. Let's take a look today at my tones on the cover of Defender by August Burns Red. This is such a good, fun song. Finally a chance for me to get August Burns Red on the channel. I've always liked them, but there wasn't ever a song I really liked. So now there's a new song I really like. You get August Burns Red. All right, so master bus. I will turn off the master bus processing except for the limiter, and I will put everything on at the end just like I do when mixing. The limiter stays on so that when I later go add the master bus processing, we don't have a big jump in volume. This is going to help keep the volume consistent for the mixing tutorial. All right, drum sound. This is the same drum sound as my cover of Alive by Wage War. In that mixing tutorial, I described the drum sound in big detail. So you can just go there and watch the full rundown of every single plugin on this drum sound. Let me get rid of these windows. There you go. It's consistent of modern and massive shells and the P4 kit cymbals, both by Get Good Drums. After you watch that mixing tutorial for those drums, if you're really interested, you can come back here for the changes that I have done. Oh, also important to note, the kick and snare are reinforced by some one-shot samples by Drum Shots, the Andrew Wade Drum Shot samples right here. Namely the sledge kick. You'll get this together with this one shot. So very thick boy. And you'll get this snare together with this one shot. This really helps bring the thickness of the kit up. All right, so after you watch that mixing tutorial for that drum sound, you go back here and you'll notice that I have changed the snare. I was on the very thick Padauk snare and I changed to the high-tuned bell brass. This is a big difference. So the Padauk snare was a very big-ass one that was good for slower, heavier metalcore, but this is very fast drumming and very tight riffs. So the high-tuned snare fit way better. So that is the main change that's happened. Other than that, the one-shot samples have been taken down in volume by a lot. So the kick trigger was 0 and now is -6 dB. So if I hear the kick one-shot at full volume, very powerful, but it feels busy in this song. So I took it down by 6 decibels. It's still thick, but a little bit cleaner. And the snare one shot is now at a reinforcement level, so -12 dB compared to this. It sounds huge like this, and I just want it to be reinforcement in this very fast drumming style. It's just a little help instead of being a big part of the drum sound like it was before. So those were, excuse me, those were very small changes that brought a big effect on the drum kit. Other than that, same mixing as the Wage War Alive kit. So you can go check that out. Let's actually go to rhythm guitar next, because that's what I would do next in a real tracking scenario. This is something I'll find myself listening to quite often when recording the song. It's just guitars and drums. I'll usually have a tone ready. So this is the SS11X, a tone I recorded with. Stock cabinet, turn on the drive pedal, and give it a little bit of EQ to get rid of some extra bass that was unnecessary and boost some highs. You get this. I'll listen to it together with the drums and wonder what's too much, what's too little. And right now I find that they could use a little bit of tightening in the bottom end. That's a little bit too big. Not too big, but bigger than it should be. And they can use some highs boosting in the highs. So I go about it with this SSL EQ today. A filter up to 90 Hertz to get rid of low-end rumble. A filter down to 9.5K to get rid of some fizz. And here's the EQ. So 1 decibel at 8K is brightness. 1 decibel at 3K is a different flavor of brightness. Minus half a dB at 500 is just taking out the slightest bit of boxiness. And minus 1 dB at 200 is taking quite a bit of low-end boominess. So check a before and after of these very small changes all together. It immediately just pokes through a little bit more and is a bit tighter. This EQ, I like to use the Reaper EQ for more subtractive moves. So there's another filter at 70 just to make sure that the very, very low end of the guitars is gone. And because that's bass and kick stuff. There's a little, very wide scoop. So this is the flavor of the scoop. I thought the guitars had a bit too much of this. So I got rid of just a little bit of that mid region. And this is taking care of some harshness at 5K, 6K. That's just very spiky. Cool. After this, they're sitting in the EQ spot that I like. Now they just need to be dynamically way more consistent. And that's through compression. And this is a guitar compressor I like. Bus Glue Guitars by Joey Sturgis and Joel Wanasek. I like it because it focuses on the guitar part that needs the most compression, which is palm mutes. Palm mutes can become very loud and very present in the low end in a really not good boomy way. So if you look at it, this is going to be the gain that's being reduced. You'll see how palm mutes get a lot more gain reduction than the open notes. You can hear how the guitar is just a nice solid block of notes when I turn on the compressor, because it turns down the palm mutes that become too loud otherwise. After that, basically the guitar tone is done from here, and this is a signature trick I borrowed from Andrew Wade. Andrew Wade does something very cool where if there's a stabby part on the guitar with... Oh, interesting. Okay. With empty space and then guitar chugs. What Andrew Wade will do is he will put a transient designer on guitars to make sure that the pick attack you see here after an empty space gets boosted very, very hard. So look at it. Let's just make sure that these parts really poke through. Bit of an unnecessary trick, but I like the little flavor that it adds. So that was the guitar tone. And then I'll be tracking the bass and listening to the bass and guitars. Let's pick the chorus, for example. See, I like that. The bass tone is the secret plugin. I can't tell you what it is yet. This is how it came out of the plugin. So you better be excited because that sounds really, really good. And it's a preset that makes a lot of sense for this song. I'll let you know in the description as soon as I can tell you what it is. Listening to this with the guitar. I like the frequency region it's standing on. It just needs to get rid of a little bit of excess subs that are fighting the kick. So that's going to be our first EQ move. There is a high pass filter at about 65 that gets rid of unnecessary rumble, and it's paired with a little boost just before it so that you control what you don't need and you boost a little bit of what you do need. If you're doing this right, this should be barely noticeable. It should just make a difference when you hear it in the mastering stage. After this, the notes are inconsistent, so the bass notes are too loud and the high notes are not loud enough, just like the palm mute problem on the guitar. So we grab a compressor. This is the Pawn Shop compressor by Cornef Audio. I just grabbed a preset for the attack in the release called Aggro Bass, because that's what I want this to sound like. Looks like this is a 10 millisecond attack to let some pick attack go through, and a very fast release of 50 milliseconds so that it's constantly controlling the volume of every note and not ducking it unnaturally. 10:1 ratio is basically a limiter, so it's going to reduce a lot of volume. And let's see how much gain reduction I am aiming for. Okay, let's check out a part with the low A. So it's something like -6, -7 on the loudest notes and a constant -3 to -2 on more quiet notes. To make sure that's absolutely pinned down, a limiter will get rid of any little spikes that remain. The little pick attack thingies, I don't want them to poke through the middle, so the limiter cuts that. You know your bass tone is somewhere that you can keep it at, where it really meshes in with the guitars. I think I've achieved that and I am very happy. Let's go to this lead guitar that lives on the left corner. So this is the same SS11X tone, but with the gain turned a lot down and a lot less bass. I kept the same cabinet. Oh, I didn't keep the same cabinet. Damn it, I'm dumb. So it's a different cabinet so that it's distinguishable from the rhythm guitar tone. That makes more sense. If I play it with the same cabinet as the guitar tone, it really blends in. But if I change it to something more mid-rangey like the V30s, it's much more distinguishable. So there you go. And that is it. After that, there's just reverb and EQ. So the reverb is 3 seconds, 25% mix, and cutting a lot of its rumble. It just gives it this little decay and stereo room. And then the EQ is a big old filter at 200 Hertz, because that's low end you don't need on the lead part. Hopefully you can hear the rumble it removes. This track is just the ending where there's a harmony on the right. that's basically it. There's a little choir in the intro. Very simple, 2 chords. Your A major and your F major. A minor, excuse me. I am playing this on a keyboard now because I have a keyboard. How epic is that? So it comes out of the plugin like this. I just remove excess low end so that it doesn't fight the guitar notes and bass notes, and a little bit of limiting. I did the limiting with a different flavor than my usual L1 this time. You know, I like this boy. Here's just basically a different version of an L1. All of these Bus Glue plugins by Joey Sturgis and Joel Wanasek, but they're a little bit optimized, each one for the different mix elements. So this one is optimized for keys. So I just used it on keys. Maybe it has a different release that makes it not as pumpy. You can see it bump down some of the dynamic variations on the choir. The little piano. It's the Addictive Keys Studio Grand, basically the way you open it. And I made it lo-fi with this little EQ, no low end beneath 300, gone, and a scoop at about 1K. Beautiful hi-fi piano, lo-fi. Then it's just a track with my little effects, cymbal swells, explosions, and a bass drop. That's basically it, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this mixing tutorial going into great detail on guitar tone, actually. Be sure to watch all the other tutorials that your support covers access to. And that's it. Take care.